games, because that's what we're here about. We're not here about the...
There's Misery is Feminine Hygiene.
No. If you want that, there's other radio shows you can go talk about that on.
Thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
my pH is balanced. Thank you very much.
We're tilting into raw sex here. I think.
Let's not do that. Sorry, Alicia. We won't do that again. Now, Nintendo was great. Atari started it off for me. And a lot of people say Intellivision started it off for them. I remember this machine vaguely. And I remember it being very flippin' annoying, and emphasis on the flippin', because it was a keypad that had numbers on it. And you had to push the numbers to get the characters to do stuff.
I don't know. Maybe it's scary or good. I don't even remember this.
It is because it's so horrible. You blanked it out in your mind. You probably smashed it on someone's head.
Did it last long?
Yeah, it lasted long enough. That was a competition for Atari. Some people had Intellivisions. You were even able to, some of the games later on swapped over to the Atari system. Not a good machine. I hated it. Atari's Activision was the first video game system I owned, and we'll get back to some of my favorite games down the road, which came from that system.
As long as we're mentioning Atari, though, let me throw in a late lamented RIP for Atari Jaguar.
Yeah, that thing was horrible, too.
Yeah.
2 games, and it was, what, $600 in the 90s? Like, what kid
Whoa.
had $600 to pay on a machine?
What kid has $600 now? I mean, they beg and cry for their PS4s and Xbox Ones.
And there was 2 games, Alien versus Predator, and I don't remember the other one.
Wow.
I really don't. I think it was Chuck Wall or something like that. And
that was their last gasp. And they were going down the drain pretty much, and they tried to jump ahead, in technology and performance and everything.
And it buried them, much like the next video game system we'll come down and talk to when we come back from our music break here. And let's go down to, we'll do this here in Chuckles Crypt. The man himself, Alice Cooper, I'll bite your face off, here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Free Radio.org.
By surprise, I tried to run, I tried to hide, but my feet were made of clay. Looked in her eyes, I was paralyzed, and I just couldn't get away. She licked her lips, they were bloody red. She had the heart of the living dead. She pushed me down on that burning bed.
I'll bite your face off, a little Alice Cooper there, and I will. If you get on my bad side, I will pull a Mike Tyson and I will chew your face off. Great game, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You probably don't remember that. I do, Nintendo's. Many hours wasted on that. Not as much as his next system, though, because this was the first system that wasn't a hand-me-down for me, and it was brand new at the time. It was the Sega Genesis, the next step up from Sega Masters, which I don't know anybody who owned that system.
Never even heard of it.
It was around the same time as Nintendo, but most kids had Nintendos. I never heard of anybody owning a Sega Master.
What were a couple of the games on the Sega Master?
Believe it or not, Alf. It was a game on there called Alf. It's the only one I remember, and a couple other games up there as well. But Sega Genesis was the first one I owned. It was debuted for myself, and I lost countless hours on that machine until I was introduced into what they call the 32X, which attached on the top. And my all-time favorite video game was released for that. And talk about nerd and countless hours of my life lost. Doom. Still to this day.
Why am I not surprised?
My favorite game in the world.
Monsters, guns.
Devil, guns, ghouls, zombies, people. It was flippin' awesome. Secret doors, like putting it on nightmares just to see how far you can make it on that game. And yes, there was the ever so popular God mode, which... Come on. If you had to use that, you shouldn't have been playing that game in the first place. It was kind of lame to be putting that in there.
We know somebody who would have done it, though.
Yeah, that game took up countless hours of my life. And I don't remember parts of my upbringing from my fourth rising from the dead with the family. I would actually work through that instead of doing my homework, and yet here I am here. Successful
on Rhode Island Free Radio.
Yes, that's right. So
just because we lost a large part of our time and brains to video games,
I still made it successful.
It didn't hold us back that much.
No, I'm out here on the radio doing stuff now. Granted, if someone plugs in Doom over there, I might drop the mic and run over there. But hey,
what would you say the longest period of time unbroken that you sat in front of the Doom console?
Oh my, we're gonna go there, Mr. Gorner.
Yeah.
Just curious. I'm just curious if it matches the one where I had to call it quits and go into remission.
I did an 8 in the morning to an 8 at night. I just sat in front of that thing and played it. My eyes were tearing up. The numbers were blurry. At some point in time, I remember dozing off and waking up to like monsters around me, and I'm thinking I'm really in the game Doom, but no, it was the game there. I got to the point where it crashed my television. My television had blown up from me playing the game so much, and it burnt the tubes out. And
I'm proud of you.
I don't know how I did this, but I was able to rig a computer screen to play my Sega Genesis. I had gone into the basement, and I had gotten a computer screen that belonged to a Commodore 64, and I had rigged it to work with my Sega Genesis. So I still had it up and going in a smoking television.
So actually, you're telling us that this obsession, led you to your moment of technological ingenuity and genius.
Yeah.
I mean, way to go, you.
Yeah, and my old man still doesn't know how I did it. Neither do I, because the screen only lasted like a couple months, and then it died, and I had to go buy a television at a flea market.
But it was enough to get you by.
It was, and I still can't top that game. And they released it again for the Xbox, and let me tell you, that thing was scary. You want to talk about horror? Put that thing on surround sound in a house that's already haunted, and just play it by yourself.
And then have your wife walk in on you in the dark and say, "Hi, honey," and you jump out of your skin.
I don't know what you're talking about. You keep that up, there'll be a... I can't say that on air.
No, you can't.
Now, I'm going to go around to break the monotony of this before I get in trouble. And I'll start with ladies first. What's one of your favorite video games? It could be from any system or any era.
Well, I loved Tetris. Anything I could play Tetris on, whether it was a computer or next door at my friend's Nintendo. My favorite Nintendo game was Battletoads. Absolutely loved Battletoads because it was just funny.
I know a
And I was
nerd
a
in
little
this-
girl, and we always caught toads. So it was like, yes, if only the ones we caught could do this stuff.
I know a nerd in this room that is also a Tetris nut, and I won't break it on air for him because he spent many of hours there being, well, mesmerized by the noises and the figuration of the game. I won't say who.
Now, there's one thing about Tetris that everybody out there probably knows, and all the nerds know. If you play Tetris for too long, you close your eyes at night and you can see Tetris.
Yes, you see the pieces,
Yeah.
and you're doing it in your sleep.
I wasn't gonna call him out, but he called himself out on radio.
Our own George Garner may be able to identify with this because George and I, unfortunately being on internet radio doesn't exactly pay the bills. So George and I have been in the long-suffering professional security business, and when smartphones first came out, one of the games I got was Tetris on my smartphone, and I actually, doing security, playing Tetris, played that game to the point where it would not go any faster. It just was, I maxed it. I maxed out Tetris on my cell phone.
That's impressive.
He called himself out. I didn't have to say it. Mr. Jones did it himself.
If you push someone's geek button, they're going to speak up.
George, you got to have a favorite. What's the one that caused you to lose your life that you haven't gone back to the system since?
I remember it well. Godzilla, The Battle for Earth on the Nintendo system. 24 hours straight.
That beats me.
Yeah. Now, granted, I might have got up to pee a couple of times, but that is it. I mean, I believe it was a weeknight. It was a work night. Everything. And it was nothing. In other words, I was going to beat that game, which I did. I beat it about 6 a.m. I had started, the morning before. And I think it was 6 a.m. that I finally defeated King Ghidorah and, brought peace to the solar system.
You had your moment of conquest.
I did. And that was it. And it was like, I'll tell you, I understand why crack addicts are crack addicts. You know what I'm saying? Drug addicts, alcoholics, I understand. Because I could not stop playing that game till I beat it. And like I say, that one, from time to time, if somebody has a console sitting around, hey, you want to play with me? Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I cannot buy a game system for myself and not. In other words, I just can't. I can't buy my own system. I can't buy my own system. I will sit in front of it. I will not be doing this show. I will not be.
You won't be a productive member of society?
I was never a productive member of society.
You're talking to George Garner here.
I was
How long
trying
have you known
to
this
be
man?
nice.
Again, you're talking to George Garner and Chuckles the Klown is across the table. Why are you trying to be nice?
Because I have this weird I don't know. I just
Actually,
like to try
actually
and
calling me a
pretend.
productive member, implying that I was ever a productive member of society is an insult.
Very
All
much
right.
so. And if you want to fire
Fine,
her,
I'm not very
down.
nice either.
But anyway, to answer your question, though, my favorite video game of all time, Godzilla Battle for Earth.
We're going to come back and we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you the top 10 of my favorite, talk a little bit real quickly about some superhero video games because I do want to wrap up.